Commander Ginho sat in his chair on the bridge of the ship called Silent Current. He had been looking at empty space for 3 months now. His job was to find new planets and mark them on the big map of space. Most planets were just rocks or balls of gas. Nothing interesting ever happened out here, Commander, said Navigator Sumi from her station. Her voice sounded different, excited. I'm seeing something strange from the third planet in the next star system. Jinho looked up from his reports. What kind of strange? Lots of radio signals, sir. Thousands of them, all different. And there are hot spots all over the planet that look like big cities or factories. Every person on the bridge stopped what they were doing. In the 1200 years that Jinho's people had been flying through space, they had only found 6 planets with living beings who could build things, and none of those planets had been this busy. Show me everything, Ginho said. His heart started beating faster. I want to know what's on that planet. The big screen in front of them lit up with information. What they saw made no sense at all. The planet was blue and green and white. It was beautiful. But that wasn't the crazy part. The crazy part was that over 7 billion thinking beings lived there. 7 billion. And they weren't just sitting around doing nothing. They had built huge cities that stretched for miles and miles. They had farms bigger than some of Jinho's home planet's continents. They had roads and bridges and tall buildings that reached toward the sky. Sir, Sumi said in a quiet voice, look at this. She put up pictures of different parts of the planet. In one place, there were buildings made of glass and metal reaching high into the clouds. In another place, there were green forests where no one had ever built anything. In the cold parts, there were cities covered in white snow. In the hot, sandy parts, there were more cities with different kinds of buildings. How is this possible? Asked young Officer Minho from the back of the bridge. Jinho looked at the numbers again. According to their computers, this planet's people had gone from living in small groups to covering their whole world in just 200 years. His own people, the Kethver, had taken 3,000 years to do the same thing. Commander, Sumi, said there's more. They're not just building things. Look at these signals. The screen showed thousands of different radio waves coming from the planet. Some were voices talking to each other. Some were music. Some were pictures moving like little movies. Some were numbers and information being sent from one place to another. They're talking to each other all the time, Sumi explained. Every day, every hour. People on one side of the planet are talking to people on the other side. Jinho stood up and walked closer to the screen. He had never seen anything like this. On his home planet, it took weeks to send a message from one city to another. These beings were talking to their whole world instantly. What else do we know about them? He asked Officer Taeyong, who worked with the computers, spoke up. Sir, they call themselves humans. They call their planet Earth. And sir, they're not just talking to each other on their planet. What do you mean? They're trying to talk to space. They're sending signals out to the stars. They're looking for other people like us. A chill went down Jinho's back. These humans were not just busy on their own world. They were trying to find other worlds, other people. How long have they been doing this? Jinho asked. About 70 of their years, sir. Jinho thought about this. His people had been flying through space for over 1,000 years, and they had always been very careful about letting other beings know they existed. But these humans had barely learned to fly, and they were already shouting into space, hoping someone would hear them. Sir, Sumi said, there's something else. Look at their planet's history. The screen showed the planet from long ago. There had been ice covering huge parts of it. There had been big rocks from space hitting it. There had been times when the air itself had changed, and many animals had died. This planet has tried to kill everything on it many times, Sumi explained. But each time, these humans found a way to survive. Not only survive, they got stronger. Jinho looked at the current pictures of Earth again. Millions of lights twinkled in the dark parts where it was night. Ships moved across the blue oceans. Flying machines moved through the air, and in the black space around the planet, there were small stations where humans lived and worked. They've only been building things for 200 years, he said quietly, but they're already trying to live in space. The bridge was very quiet. Everyone was thinking the same thing. They had found something that had never been found before, a young species that was growing and learning faster than anyone thought possible. Commander Sumi asked, "What do we do?" Jinho looked at the beautiful, blue planet on the screen. Somewhere down there, 7 billion humans were living their lives, building their cities, talking to each other, and reaching for the stars. They had no idea that someone was watching them. "We report this to the council," Jinho said. "Right now." 3 months had passed since Jinho first saw Earth. Now, Dr. Yuna sat in a hidden space station near the strange blue planet. She was one of the smartest people among her kind, the Kethver. Her job was to study how different beings lived and built their worlds. But what she was seeing on Earth made no sense at all. "Yuna, come look at this," said her helper Daiho. He was pointing at one of the many screens that showed what was happening on Earth right now. On the screen, they could see a group of islands where the ground had shaken very hard. Many buildings had fallen down. Roads were broken. Bridges had crashed into the water. It looked terrible. "This just happened yesterday," Daiho said. "The whole area is destroyed. Those humans who lived there must be very scared." Yuna nodded. When something like this happened on our home planet, people would leave the area and never come back. It would take many years before anyone was brave enough to build there again. But as they watched, something amazing happened. Big flying machines came from all over the planet. They brought food, water, and medicine. People in special clothes came to look for anyone who might be hurt and trapped under the broken buildings. Other people brought machines to move the heavy pieces of stone and metal. "Look," Yuna said, pointing at the screen. "They're not running away. They're helping." Within 1 day, there were small houses made of cloth where people could sleep. Within 3 days, the roads were fixed enough for trucks to bring more help. Within 1 week, people were already talking about how to build new buildings that would not fall down if the ground shook again. "This is impossible," Daiho said. "When our cities get damaged, it takes us many months just to clean up the mess." Yuna switched to another screen. This one showed a place where everything was covered in white snow and ice. The air was so cold that it would freeze a Kethver in minutes. But there were humans living there. They had built a whole city in that terrible cold place. "And look at this," she said, changing to another screen. This time it showed a place that was all sand and rocks. The sun was so hot that nothing should be able to live there. But again, there were humans. They had built cities with tall buildings and green gardens. Even in that burning hot place, day after day, Yuna watched the humans do things that seemed impossible. She saw them go deep under the ocean in special machines. She saw them climb the highest mountains on their planet. She saw them build stations that flew around their planet in the black space above. "Daiho," she said one day, "how long did it take our people to learn to live in different places on our planet?" "About 2,000 years, he answered. "We started in the warm places near water, then slowly moved to other areas as we learned how to build better houses and make better tools. The humans did it in less than 50 years, Yuna said quietly. She showed him pictures of Earth from 50 years ago, then pictures from today. In 50 years, humans had gone from having small cities in just a few places to having cities everywhere. They lived in the cold places, the hot places, the high places, the dry places. They had even built cities on water. But that's not the strangest part, Yuna continued. She brought up more pictures. Look at this. The pictures showed that even though humans had built cities everywhere, they had also kept many places wild and natural. There were huge areas where animals still lived free, and trees grew tall. There were rivers and lakes that were still clean and blue. How people destroy the natural places when we build cities, Deho said. But humans seem to be taking care of both. Yuna nodded. And look at this. She showed him pictures of humans doing something very strange. When animals were in danger of disappearing forever, humans worked very hard to save them. When forests were being cut down too much, humans planted new trees. When the air or water got dirty, humans found ways to clean it. They're taking care of their whole planet while they build on it, Yuna said. I've never seen anything like this. Over the next few weeks, Yuna saw more amazing things. When there was not enough food in one place, humans from other places sent food. When sickness spread in one area, doctors from everywhere came to help. When one group of humans had a problem, other humans who didn't even know them would help solve it. Deho, Yuna said, one evening as they watched the lights of human cities twinkling in the dark. What kind of world makes beings like this? Deho brought up information about Earth's history on his computer. What he found made them both go quiet. The information showed that Earth had been a very dangerous place for a very long time. The weather had changed from very hot to very cold many times. Big rocks from space had hit the planet. The ground had shaken and mountains had exploded. Many times, most of the life on Earth had died. This planet has been trying to kill everything on it for millions of years, Deho said quietly. And the humans learned to work together to survive it all, Yuna whispered. She looked at the beautiful blue planet, spinning slowly in the darkness of space. Now she understood why these humans were so different. They had learned that the only way to survive was to help each other and never give up. The big meeting room on the Kethver home planet was full of angry voices. Elder Wujin, the leader of the war group, hit his special stick on the crystal floor to make everyone be quiet. These humans are growing too fast, he said in a loud voice. In just a few years, they might become dangerous to us. We need to do something now. Elder Jisoo, who led the science group, shook her head. They are not trying to hurt anyone. They only care about their own planet. For now, Wujin, said Beck. But look how fast they learn new things. What happens when they learn to fly between stars like we do? The other leaders talked and argued for hours. Finally, they decided to test the humans. They wanted to see what humans would do when bad things happened to them. Dr. Yuna watched from her hidden station near Earth. She felt sick when she heard what the leaders planned to do, but she had to follow orders and watch what happened. The first test was to break the power in one of the big human cities. The Kethver used their advanced machines to make the electricity stop working in a place where millions of humans lived. Yuna thought the humans would panic and run around screaming, but that's not what happened. Within 2 hours, humans who lived near each other started helping each other. People with generators shared their power. Stores gave away food that would go bad without cold storage. Neighbors checked on old people to make sure they were okay. Look at this, said her helper, Deho, pointing at the screen. The humans who work for the city are not running around confused. They have backup plans. It was true. The humans had prepared for this kind of problem. They had other ways to make power. They had plans for how to fix things quickly. They had people whose job it was to help during emergencies. In just 12 hours, the power was back on. The city worked normally again. That was too easy for them, Wujin said, when he heard the report. Try something bigger. The second test was much worse. The Kethver used their machines to push a big rock from space toward Earth. It was not big enough to destroy the planet, but it was big enough to cause terrible damage if it hit. Yuna watched with fear. Surely this would make the humans panic. Surely they would pray to their gods or fight with each other about what to do. But again, the humans surprised everyone. First, their scientists found the rock in space very quickly. Then, instead of keeping it secret, they told everyone on Earth about it right away. Yuna expected this would cause fear and chaos. Instead, something amazing happened. Countries that usually did not work together suddenly started sharing information. Scientists who had never talked to each other began working day and night together. Rich people and poor people, young people and old people, all started working on the same problem. They're not fighting, Deho said in amazement. They're working together. In just 5 days, the humans built rockets with special bombs and shot them into space. The bombs pushed the rock so it would miss Earth completely. When the rock safely flew past Earth, humans all over the planet celebrated together. They had parties in the streets. They hugged each other. They were happy not just because they were safe, but because they had worked together to solve the problem. By the void, whispered Elder Jisoo, when she saw the report. They turned a disaster into a celebration. But Woojin was not finished. One more test, he said. Let's see what happens when they cannot talk to each other. The third test was to stop all the signals that let humans talk to each other around their planet. For 6 hours, their phones did not work. Their computers could not connect. Their televisions went dark. Yuna was sure this would cause problems. Humans were always talking to each other. What would they do if they could not? The answer surprised her again. Humans who knew how to use old radio machines started talking to each other that way. People went to their neighbors' houses to check if they were okay. Local leaders organized their communities without waiting for orders from far away. When the signals came back on, the humans did not seem upset or scared. They had managed fine without their normal ways of talking. Every test we give them makes them stronger, Deho said quietly. It's like they enjoy solving hard problems, Yuna said. She was right. After each test, the humans learned from what had happened. They made better plans. They built better tools. They found new ways to work together. Elder Woojin became very quiet when he heard all the reports. These tests were supposed to show that humans were weak and would break when things got hard. Instead, they showed that humans became stronger when things got hard. What have we learned? Asked Elder Jisoo in the big meeting room. We have learned, said Elder Woojin slowly, that these humans do not just survive problems. They use problems to become better. Yuna looked at the blue planet Earth spinning in space. She realized that the Kethper had made a big mistake. They thought they were testing the humans to see if they were dangerous, but really, they had just taught the humans that someone else was out there in space, watching them, and knowing humans. Like she did now, Yuna was sure they would want to find out who was watching them. Young scientist Hiron stood in front of all the important leaders of her people. She was nervous because she was much younger than everyone else in the big meeting room. But the information she had found was too important to keep quiet. Important, leaders, she said with a shaking voice. I have studied the humans very carefully. What I found is very different from anything we have ever seen before. She pressed a button and a big picture appeared in the air above them. It showed Earth from long, long ago. Most smart beings in space became the strongest animals on their planets, Hiron explained. They had big teeth or sharp claws, or they were very fast. They could kill other animals easily, but humans were not like this. The picture changed to show the Earth from millions of years ago. There were huge animals with long teeth. There were giant cats that could run very fast. There were big animals with horns and thick skin. Humans were small and weak, Hiron continued. They did not have big teeth or claws. They were not the fastest or the strongest. Many animals could kill them easily. Elder Jisoo leaned forward in her chair. Then how did they survive? That is the amazing part, Hiron said. The picture changed again. Now, it showed early humans working together. When the weather got very cold, they did not die. They learned to make fire and warm clothes. When big animals tried to eat them, they did not run away. They learned to make tools and work as a team. The next picture showed humans hunting a very large animal, but they were not fighting it with teeth or claws. They were running after it, following it for many days, until the big animal got too tired to run anymore. They are persistence hunters, Hiron explained. This means they never give up. They do not need to be faster or stronger than other animals. They just need to keep going longer than anyone else. Elder Wujin, who had wanted to test the humans, spoke up. What does this have to do with today? Hiron smiled a little. Everything. Sir, this never-give-up attitude is still inside every human today. She showed new pictures of modern humans. Some were climbing the highest mountains on Earth. Some were diving to the bottom of the deepest oceans. Some were working for years to cure diseases. Some were trying to travel to other planets. Look at what they do when they have a problem, Hiron said. When they got sick, they did not just accept it. They spent hundreds of years learning about medicine until they could cure most sicknesses. When they wanted to fly, they did not give up after the first tries failed. They kept trying until they learned how. The room was very quiet, as everyone thought about this. When we tested them, Hiron continued, we thought they would break or give up. But that is impossible for humans. Giving up is not in their nature. When something bad happens, they think, how can we fix this? Not why did this happen to us? She showed pictures of human cities that had been destroyed by earthquakes, storms, and fires. Then she showed the same places a few years later, rebuilt, and better than before. Every time their world tries to hurt them, they learn from it and become stronger, she said. Elder Minsu, who was very old and wise, asked, what makes them so different from us? Hiron had been waiting for this question. We evolved on a safe planet. We had plenty of food. The weather was always nice. We did not have many dangerous animals. So we learned to be careful and slow. We think for a long time before we do anything new. The picture changed to show Earth's violent history. Ice ages that covered most of the planet in snow. Huge rocks from space that hit the ground and killed many animals. Mountains that exploded and filled the air with poison gas. But humans evolved on a planet that was always trying to kill them, Hiron said. They learned that being careful and slow meant dying. They learned that the only way to survive was to act fast, work together, and never stop trying. She showed pictures of humans working together during disasters. After floods, earthquakes, and storms, humans from all over their planet would come to help. They did not ask what country the hurt people came from or what they looked like. They just helped. This is why they seem so dangerous to us, Hiron said. We think slowly and carefully. We take a long time to make decisions, but humans think fast and act fast. When they see a problem, they want to solve it right away. Elder Wujin looked worried. So they really are dangerous. Not dangerous like you think, Hiron said. They do not want to hurt other people, but they are dangerous to problems. If they think something is wrong, they will not rest until they fix it. If they think something is unfair, they will work to make it fair. If they want to learn something, they will not stop until they understand it completely. She paused and looked around the room at all the important leaders. Leaders, she said quietly, we have not just found another group of smart beings. We have found the most determined species in the galaxy. They treat impossible things like they are just difficult things. They treat difficult things like they are just puzzles to solve. The room was silent for a long time. Finally, Elder Jisoo spoke. What do you think they will do when they realize we have been watching them? Hiron's answer made everyone in the room feel cold. They will come find us. The emergency meeting had been going on for 3 days without stopping. All the most important leaders of the Kethver people sat in the big crystal room, arguing about what to do. Through the tall windows, they could see their planets too. Moons shining in the dark sky. Elder Jisoo stood up, and everyone became quiet. Her face was very serious. They know we are watching them, she said in a clear voice. Our spy machines found out that the humans have discovered our hidden stations near their planet. Everyone in the room started talking at once. This was the worst news possible. How much do they know? Asked Elder Minsu, the oldest leader. Not everything, Jisoo answered. But they know someone is out there, and there is more bad news. She pressed a button, and a picture appeared in the air. It showed a small machine flying through space very fast. The humans have built what they call a star probe. It is flying straight toward our home planet. Elder Woojin, who had wanted to test the humans, stood up quickly. How long until it reaches us? With their current technology, about 12,000 years, Jisoo said. But, ... She stopped talking for a moment. You all know how quickly humans learn new things. They might find faster ways to travel through space much sooner than that. The weight of this decision fell on everyone in the room like a heavy blanket. For the first time in their long history, the Kethver had to decide whether to meet another species or hide from them. But hiding might not work anymore. Elder Sun, who was in charge of planning for the future, spoke up. We have all seen what humans do when they face challenges. They do not run away. They do not give up. They solve problems. She walked to the center of the room, where everyone could see her. If we stay hidden, they will still find us someday. The question is, do we want to meet them as friends, or do we want them to show up at our planet uninvited? Young scientist Hiron, who had studied the humans so carefully, was allowed to speak even though she was not an elder. I have watched humans for months, she said. When they find something new, they want to understand it. When they meet other people, they try to be friends first. But if someone tries to trick them or hide from them, they become suspicious. Elder Woojin looked uncomfortable. We did trick them. We tested them without telling them. Yes, Hiron said simply. And if they find out about the tests, they will want to know why we did it. They will want answers. The room became very quiet as everyone thought about this. Elder Dong Yoon, who rarely spoke in meetings, stood up slowly. I have been thinking about what we learned from watching these humans, he said. They are not like us. When we have a problem, we think about it for a long time before we act. But humans act first and think while they are acting. He looked around the room at all the other leaders. They have already sent that probe toward our planet. They are not waiting to see if we answer their radio signals. They are coming to find us themselves. That probe is their way of saying hello, whether we want to hear it or not. This made everyone think. The humans were not asking permission to look for other life in space. They were just doing it. Elder Jisoo called for a vote. All those who think we should make contact with the humans now, raise your hands. One by one, hands went up around the room. Even Elder Woojin, who had been most worried about the humans, raised his hand. The vote was unanimous. All the leaders agreed. Then it is decided, Elder Jisoo said. We will send a ship to Earth to introduce ourselves. 3 days later, Commander Jinho, who had first discovered Earth, stood on the bridge of a new ship called Peaceful Current. This ship was specially built for meeting other species. It had no weapons and carried gifts from the Kethver people. As they came out of hyperspace near Earth's solar system, Ginho felt nervous and excited at the same time. They were about to meet beings who had amazed, scared, and impressed them all at once. Open communication channels on all human frequencies, he ordered his crew. The communication officer, Sioyan, nodded and pressed several buttons. Channels. Open, sir. Jinho took a deep breath. These were the most important words anyone from his species had ever spoken. Greetings, people of Earth, he said into the microphone. We are the Kethver Collective. We have been watching your beautiful world, and we are amazed by what we have seen. We come in peace to welcome you to the community of species that travel among the stars. He paused, then added, We apologize for watching you without permission. We were curious about your remarkable species. We hope you will forgive us and that we can become friends. Now, they had to wait for the humans to answer. As Ginho looked at the blue and green planet spinning slowly in front of them, he wondered what the humans would say. Would they be angry about being watched? Would they be excited to meet other intelligent beings? Would they ask a million questions? Knowing what he had learned about humans, Jinho was sure of one thing. Whatever they said, it would be interesting. The galaxy was about to become a much more exciting place.